Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live.
Let's go, baby.
Thank you so much to everybody who's joining us tonight. If you haven't already, click subscribe, click that like, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your landscaping guy, tell them to tell a friend, help spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. Got a pretty good show tonight. We're going to get into the giveaway here. So as Brenda so fittingly put here, we got to the 2,500 followers on Twitter. We blew by the 250 subscriber mark a long time ago. I thought we'd get to the Twitter followers first, honestly.
I did too.
But flew by that. We finally got to the 2,500. We got a pretty solid giveaway here. So, and we're going to talk about what's in it and how you get in on it. So just be patient with us here. When we're going to talk some Chiefs news. Blaine Gabbert, former Mizzou quarterback, journeyman backup, signs with the Chiefs. Chiefs also sign a 2-year deal and extension for Justin Watson. So Jay Watt's going to be staying on the team. We'll kind of talk about him, see what we think about Justin Watson and what that means for some of the other receivers on the team. Then we're going to talk about the draft coming up here. We won't get too much into that because next week's episode will be the day before. We'll do some pretty in-depth draft talk and analysis next Wednesday. We'll do this week's poll. We'll talk Jalen Hurts contract, what we think about that and what that means for some of these other AFC quarterbacks that have not signed deals yet. Might talk some more Tiger King. I don't know what we'll get into, but that was a lot of fun last week. Gentlemen, before we get started, Bo, how are you doing? You're settled back there in the 505, it looks like?
Oh, I'm back in the 505, currently a vagabond, but doing good, man. Doing the moving life, kind of tweaked my back a little bit, so I've been better. But, hey, we're on the road again, so life is good. It's fun getting out and driving across country and seeing this great country we have, man. It's a really enjoyable life that we have, so. But yeah, currently back in the 505, hanging out with some family here and enjoying our time here, doing great. How are you guys? I missed you guys. You guys had a great show last week. I caught the tail end of it, right in the Tiger King stuff. Pretty fucking funny, man. But,
yeah, I said on there the adult was gone, so the kids were just going wild. While the cat's away, the mice will play, is the saying. So
it was good. It was a good show.
Hope your back's doing better. I have one of the funniest memes I've seen in a long time. Was it said my favorite memory of being younger was my back not hurting. So anybody who's getting up there in age can relate with that. Nick?
Oh, yeah.
Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's spring here. It's morel season in Missouri, so the morels are up and people are finding them, and it's just a great time of year. The grass is green, the trees are blooming, there's flowers everywhere, right? The draft is around the corner. Finally, the gray winter is over here in the KC area, so it's just great, man. It's good time of year.
Yeah, I like springtime. Summer is always my favorite, but spring is a close second. Had some really beautiful weather here recently, although we're kind of in that weird in between. Do I turn my air conditioning unit on or not? Because it's 83 during the day and then 53 at night, so you get in this weird spot where it's hard. You want to turn the AC and then the furnace back and forth, switching back and forth there. But looking forward to summer right around the corner. Got the draft coming up. Yeah, so springtime's a great time of year.
How crazy is the city right now with the draft being there? Like you see banners and everything everywhere, I assume, right? Like city of buzz.
Pretty wild. So one of my customers is doing some of the event and catering and things for the tents and the stuff going up down there. So I was actually down there delivering some equipment to them and checking it out. And dude, that stage and all that stuff, super elaborate down there, man.
Yeah, it looks cool. I saw some pictures of it.
I saw a report that 100,000 people have already registered to go down there, signed up to show up. Yeah, pretty crazy. But yeah, no, it's city's a buzz. It's great. You drive around town and they've got the world champions wrap on the streetcar. You got the flags on all the light poles downtown and down on the Country Club Plaza with the Super Bowl LVII champions flags hanging from them. Home of the champs, baby, here in Chiefs
Yeah.
Kingdom.
You guys got to send me some photos when you get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to do that. So, okay, so the giveaway. We got some pretty sweet stuff here. So we wanted to figure out how to get the viewers and the Twitter followers and everybody involved on this giveaway here. So what we're going to do is we came up with a little bit of a contest here. The draft is next Thursday. We were just talking about that. What we're going to do is drop in the comments on this show what position group you think the Chiefs pick with their first pick. Could be first round. They could trade back into the second round. It doesn't have to be a first round pick. And then I'm going to put out on the Twitter at Chiefs Kingdom Live. I'm going to put a tweet out there, and I'm going to ask people to reply with what position group they think the Chiefs pick first in the draft next week. After the draft's over and we know what position group they pick, we're going to go through all the people that selected the correct answer. We're going to randomly pick someone from that group, obviously compiled from the comments of this show and the replies on Twitter, and that'll be the winner. And they're going to get hooked up with some pretty sweet stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to lie. Nick's got something there that he's going to throw in.
This is some confetti from the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. Obviously, we won. They were handing that out for free to everybody who was at the game via the air. So we scooped some of that up for you guys. What else we got, Scotty? You got something there, don't you?
Yeah, I've got 50th anniversary Arrowhead Stadium Cup that I picked up in games from the Super Bowl season, nonetheless. And then Bo,
the coup de grace here.
I sent it over there.
He picked up this towel from the Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. As you can see, it's got the little, if I could do this thing right, the little official sticker on there. It's pretty sweet. It's from the Super Bowl. So
actual Super Bowl merch. Pretty wild, man. Pretty wild.
So
there's also Super Bowl confetti to go with that. I'm sending that along too. Yeah, there's some other little small things in there too. There's some little goodies that maybe might not be mentioned, but
if you're not in the KC area, we might throw some local flavor in there. So
yeah, you never know what else might get in there, but those three things for sure are going to be in there. So Brenda's getting in here, offensive tackle. That'll go under line, and we're going to do offensive line and defensive line is the same thing, but that works. Offensive tackle, obviously offensive line. Maybe wide receiver would be a good pick. Maybe offensive line or defensive line.
So wait, if they do a trade up, is that a pick? Like you're picking that they're going to make a trade as
it's just whoever they pick first, right? Whether they trade out, they trade up, what position do they draft?
Yeah, their first pick in the draft, whatever position is from, whatever round it's in, if they move up, if they move back, whoever the first pick is. So little hint here, if you also follow us on Twitter, you might want to go in there and get a second entry. Maybe
well, why don't you tweet like every position in the comments?
No, there's one comment. This is the honor. This is the honor policy here. But if you get on the Twitter and you reply, maybe if you're feeling really good about one of those position groups, get your second entry. Or if you're going back and forth between offensive line and wide receiver, maybe pick one here and pick the other over on the Twitter. Give yourself double the chances of winning. I don't know. Just saying. Yeah. Might help you game the system a little bit here, but really looking forward to it. We can't thank everybody enough that follows us, that subscribes to our channel, that interacts with us every week. It's been a lot of fun. We talked about this last week's show. We don't have former KC sports media professional journalists on the show. We don't have former players with special access, anything like that. We don't buy subscribers or followers on Twitter or views. This is all 100% just fans getting together, talking about Chiefs, doing it the hard way. I honestly never thought we'd have almost 400 people subscribing to this channel and getting tens of thousands of views a month, especially during the playoff run with the
That's
shorts
so
and everything we were
So
doing.
wild.
That's cool.
I remember
makes you
when
feel
we
a
were
little
like
weird to
geeking
say
out
it.
because we had like 170 views. And we're like, oh my God, I can't believe 170 people are watching this. It's not just us rewatching it. It's not just our friends. There's like actually real people out there watching it. Now it's like you said, tens of thousands a month. Can't thank you guys enough. So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. We've had Chiefs fans from around the globe tune into the show and watch it and send us comments. And I had a couple of people on Twitter. One guy, he lives in Germany and he drives one of like the bullet train things, the mass transit over there. And he says he listens to our show while he's doing his job over there, driving a train in Germany and over there in Europe. And I was like, what? So pretty cool. The world is getting,
sir.
Yeah.
It's the only German I know. And
the world's
Donka.
getting smaller all the time. But thanks again. We really appreciate everybody, honestly, sincerely, for joining us and for subscribing and following us on Twitter. And, this last season, the Super Bowl was a blast. But doing this show the last couple of years, getting to know, we make more Chiefs friends. And we love doing this giveaways. Giving is a good feeling. So we enjoy it. And this is all stuff that it's coming from us. Like, we don't have sponsors giving us the stuff to give away. So we hope you all enjoy it. We hope you all enjoy the show. And thank you again. Getting into the first bit of Chiefs news here. Breaking news. Chiefs sign quarterback Blaine Gabbert. It's kind of a turn. What's that?
Blaine Gabbert era?
Yep, the Blaine Gabbert era. What was the video he had? The American Hero or whatever video they put out, his hype video when he was coming out of Missouri, and he got drafted. It was pretty funny. Didn't really hit as a starting quarterback, but he's kind of journeyed around and been a backup. He was the backup to Tom Brady in Tampa Bay previously to coming here. I'm pretty sure he was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Went to an AFC championship game with him, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure was he playing in that game or was it? No, that was the other guy.
Was it not Blaine Gabbert?
No,
my Blaine Gabbert knowledge is minimal.
No. What's that?
I said my Blaine Gabbert knowledge is pretty minimal.
No, the Jaguars had the other guy, the quarterback, when they played in that AFC Championship game. It wasn't Blaine Gabbert, wasn't the starter. I don't know if he was still on the team or not, but
Blaine Gabbert had maybe gone to the 49ers.
Bortles? Is that who you're thinking?
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, Blake Bortles was the starter for that AFC Championship
Blake Bortles,
game.
Blaine Gabbert.
I remember when the Jags so this was obviously before the Chiefs went on this run here and were making the Super Bowl pretty much every year and hosting the AFC Championship game every year, literally. And I remember watching the Jaguars playing that game and just thinking, are you fucking kidding me? The Jaguars can make the AFC Championship game.
I know, right?
And the Chiefs can't in the last 30 years. It seemed like every 2 or 3 years, you'd get one of these rando teams that would just jump up and somehow be playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And all those years and all those great Chiefs teams couldn't make it. And I remember just feeling like kicked in the gut watching that game going, man, the Jaguars can make it and we can't, man. But that was the last time the Chiefs didn't play in it, right? Because that was the infamous Chris Jones, we will be in this game next year tweet, right?
Yeah,
and
you're
they
right.
were in it the next year against the Patriots, lost that game. The Super Bowl, Chris Jones followed it up. I mean, went back to back there and said, we will be playing in this game next year. He was right both times.
He was right.
Nailed it.
He did nail it. So Blaine Gabbert, Patrick Mahomes isn't sweating, obviously. His job is safe, but what do we think of Blaine Gabbert as a backup? Chad Henne retires. He was like a super veteran backup quarterback who came in big clutch spots with his time with the Chiefs. Most notably last year in the divisional round, leading that 98-yard touchdown drive against the Jaguars. Coincidentally, the Jaguars keep coming up here. A couple seasons ago, he He led the team on the game-sealing drive against the Browns in the divisional round of the playoffs. Didn't make the Super Bowl that year, but got to the AFC Championship game. So what do you think, Nick? Blaine Gabbert?
Yeah, backup quarterback's the best job in the NFL, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you get a lot of money, and you don't
Until
get
it's
a lot
not.
asked of you until you do. But when you do, you just got to show up, and you nailed it. We saw the value that having a good backup quarterback brings to the team.
Yeah. 100.
I mean, when Mahomes was hurt and we took him out, the doubt starts creeping in of maybe like we've been leading up this entire year to this point for it to be over in a way that you felt kind of robbed. And then Chad Henne comes in, 98-yard drive, closes out the half. And he did the same thing in the Browns game. I think we did go to the Super Bowl that year. I think that's the year that we went from there, and then we beat the Bills in the AFC Championship. But so I mean, look, it's good to have a guy that has experience. We saw Brenda commented here, is he QB2 or 3? Is it going to be him versus Buechele for QB2? I don't know, but having someone with experience is always good. Somebody that has been a starter, knows and understands what it means to be a starter in the NFL, to play in a real game and maybe a high leverage situation, even though he wasn't great. It's good, right? I mean, he was on the team that beat us in the Super Bowl, I believe, right, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm excited that we at least have somebody, right? Because before it was like, well, what do we have? And now it's somebody that has kind of been battle tested in the league and may not be great, but is good enough to be a backup. So
yeah, to not completely harp on all of Nick's points, I completely agree. Responding to Brenda, I would assume he's going to be an automatic QB2, just for like what you're saying, from his experience, having been there and done that. Shane Buechele is I think he's had a couple preseason games. I don't think he even played a snap this season. Could be wrong, but I don't think he did. So yeah, I think he would immediately come in and just kind of be QB2, and they would be battling for that position. And it's one of those necessary evils. Yeah, you get somebody like anything's possible leaving. It's one of those bittersweet things. You're like, yeah, we got to replace him. And agree with everything Nick said, dude. He's kind of battle tested, been in big games, been there, done that. Been under Tom Brady, so I mean, that guy's got some knowledge. He's got to soak some of that up if you're hanging around that guy a little bit. So. Just filled it up. I mean, I'm glad we filled it up with somebody with some experience. It's not kind of like a laughing stock, like, oh, you guys got him as your QB, as your backup, right? So, I think, like we said, Mahomes isn't under any threat. He knows what he was drafted for, and or what we got him for. So,
yep,
all good.
There was some people talking a few weeks ago, or maybe it was longer ago than that now, about what the Chiefs were going to do with Chad Henne. And there were some people saying maybe if Carson Wentz got let go, the Chiefs would go after him, or no, thank you.
That's what I mean, right? It's one of those ones where you're just like, I don't know about him. And you're just like, all right, Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, it's interesting. Shane Buechele's got some experience on the team and familiarity with the playbook and the system. So maybe he's not quite the veteran with the NFL live game time experience that Blaine Gabbert has, but he's also more familiar with the team. So maybe that makes for an interesting duel for that QB2 spot and training camp and OTAs coming up here. Is Blaine Gabbert, maybe someone watching knows this, or maybe when he gets to look up, is he from Missouri? I know he played at Mizzou, but
I don't know. I can look it up.
For some reason, I was thinking he's a Missouri guy, which has got to be exciting for that kid. You figure growing up in Missouri, you're probably a Chiefs fan. So getting signed by the defending champs.
Alwyn, Missouri.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought he was from Missouri, born. Yep. So he's a Missouri guy and played at Mizzou, and now he's playing on the Chiefs. That's a pretty sweet deal. I think most youngsters in the Show Me State would sign up for that to get to play for Mizzou and play for the Chiefs. He was a damn good quarterback at Missouri. It's kind of surprising he fizzled out and didn't have more success than he did in the NFL because he was good.
He was picked 10th overall, right? Him and Mahomes both. And right. you saw with Geno Smith, somebody that kind of finally found a good coach, somebody with a lot of talent that has a good coach and a good system, looks a lot better than maybe you would think, right? Not saying that he's going to be Geno Smith of last year, but if he's half of Geno Smith of last year, he's more than serviceable as a backup quarterback. So, you got a guy that's got a lot of talent, and I mean, it's a good pickup for the Chiefs, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
good pickup. I don't know the Chiefs. I don't know if they were looking at drafting quarterback like in a late round situation or something, but Andy Reid always likes to have a guy with some NFL live game experience on the roster. So, I mean, you figure you go into next season. There's some times where they only carried maybe a couple quarterbacks, like Michelle was inactive. Mm-hmm. So I think you see a battle there for the backup quarterback position. With that said, in all due respect to Mr. Gabbert, I hope we don't see him in a game this coming season or in the playoffs.
Actually, I hope we do in many a fourth quarter for many a blowouts. That's
right. Okay. Well, yeah. Aside from garbage time blowout, Patrick Mahomes has got a clipboard and a visor on the sideline. Let's hope we don't see Blaine Gabbert playing too many games under center there for the Chiefs. Speaking of quarterbacks, you guys want to do the poll?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Did this week's poll? It's probably about the closest poll we've had since we started doing these. Going back to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, I wanted to see what everybody thought about the best Patrick Mahomes run. And two kind of came to mind, the AFC Championship game run against the Tennessee Titans, which would have been 4 years ago, right? 4 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It does fly. And then obviously the run, fourth quarter, that was right around 2 minutes to go there. In the Super Bowl, not the game-stealing play, but one of the game-stealing plays, sort of kind of put the ice in the cooler to put the game on ice, so to speak. Pretty close. I was surprised. I thought the Super Bowl run was going to get more support just because it was the Super Bowl, but
recency bias too, right?
Right, recency bias.
It was a good run, but I don't know, man. That AFC Championship game run was something else.
He was healthy for that game, though. And the stakes were high, but not as high as 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, obviously. So I thought that kind of balanced that out. A lot of people here in the poll agreed with me there. What do you guys think? Go top to bottom here, Nick.
I went Super Bowl run versus Philly, and I mean I was at the first one with Scotty, that AFC Championship game run, and that was to take the lead after we'd been down 10 in two different positions there at home, and we never looked back after that. Like you're arguing excellence on either side here. I went Super Bowl run just because, like, especially when you saw the NFL films come out and they had the mic'd up, and you heard. For me, it was when I heard Mahomes coming to the sideline there before the half, and he's just like in so much pain, and then knowing that he gutted it up. And before the game, he was talking to the team, and he said, "We're going to find a way to drag our asses across that finish line." And in that moment, he did everything that he could, and you could tell he was like laying it all out. And it was in the Super Bowl, and it was in one of the best Super Bowls ever. And it was the arguably the biggest play, because Scott said it did put the game on ice. And just, I don't know, to me, that's just that's the stuff that you're going to remember for years. You'll remember both of them, but I mean, I don't know. It's just the Super Bowl, the situation that he was hurt. It just all, to me, put it over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I completely agree, but I did go with the AFC Championship game against the Titans. I just remember where I was in that moment, who I was with, the bar I was at, right? It was like it was that whole playoff run of coming back and just kicking ass from, just being in a deficit and such a place where you're just like, oh no, we did it again. We made the playoffs. We're in this terrible position. And then for them to just come back over and over again. And then that run, right? That was as you were putting it, like the nail in the coffin for that game. Like that really showed the entire world what Mahomes and the Chiefs were capable of. And that's been their MO ever since, right? Like you can't ever count them out, no matter how much they're down or how much time's left on the clock. They'll find a way to make that comeback. And I feel like that was kind of like the start of it. And then, it was just such a great year. That's why I voted that one. I get the Super Bowl. Like Nick said, it's arguing excellence, man. I love both of them. I was at the Super Bowl, obviously. I've mentioned it so many times, but saw that one live. But I'll remember both. But that first one, dude, it was just like, oh my God, this guy wants it. You just saw it. Like I'm getting used. I got used to it. That drive that he has. So
he was a little bit newer at that point too, in that AFC Championship game touchdown run.
Right.
That was they had obviously made the championship game the year before and lost in the overtime, and he had the 5,000 yards passing and 50 touchdowns. But people were wondering, we'll have a sophomore slump, and he came in, the league will adjust to him. We'll see how he does year two, and he just blew back up and took it to the next level and got the team to the Super Bowl. And I remember Jim Rome was talking about it on his show, and he was like, he remembered last year in that championship game losing at home, and he wasn't about to let that happen again. There's no way he was going to lose that game. And so, you said you remember what bar you were at and who you were with, Bo. I was about to say, like, do you remember where you were at for the Super Bowl? Right?
Obviously, right? But like, it's just like one of those like cemented memories. Like,
I know.
The Super Bowl is still so recent; it's still so fresh. I'm still recalling it, and I still like to relive it. But like, man,
it's easier to remember where you were at when you're at the Super Bowl than if you're at some random bar watching a game, right? I
exactly.
But I do agree with you, Bo, because I remember the moment that I realized he wasn't going out of bounds.
Yeah.
And just how smart that was.
Move, right? You're just
he like cut inside, and I was like, dude, he's fucking going for it. And he got in the end zone and
gets up, does the double
we FaceTimed you, right? We FaceTimed you at the end of that game when we won. I mean, they're Chiefs players when we were doing the kneel downs, doing backflips on the field. Yeah, it was a great moment. And technically a better run, right? I mean, if you were to look at it, but I don't know, something about that, just the grit is what put it over the top. And so we got, I don't know, it looks like
he put on like he was going out of bounds and just said no, right? Yeah. Like, you're right. That was amazing.
Yeah, you look at some of the screen grabs from that, and there's 3 or 4 Titans around him, and they're like, Patrick Mahomes scored a touchdown on this play. How?
Yeah, I got to go with the Super Bowl run on one leg, man. It's the Super Bowl and it's on one leg, and it like I said, it didn't seal the win, but it all but sealed it. I mean, it was a dagger.
It was a real smart football run, right? Like not only did, like you're saying, like it crushes them, but like to go down and
he was outrunning linebackers on one leg, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fun poll. Thanks, appreciate everybody who voted. Looks like we gained a few viewers here. Make sure you drop who you think Chiefs pick with their first pick, what position group, in the comments down there to get in on the giveaway for this Chiefs AFC Championship confetti, Super Bowl towel, Arrowhead Stadium cup. Make sure you drop that in there. It's good to see race cars in here.
Hello. What's
good to see you a few weeks ago out there in Vegas. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to this Vikings game here coming up this season. That's gonna be a fun trip up there.
It's gonna be a blast.
To get to that, I'm really looking forward to that. So appreciate you joining and shooting us a comment. I kind of skipped ahead of the other Chiefs news we had here. I mentioned it at the lead-in. Justin Watson also signed with the Chiefs on a 2-year deal. He was a guy that I had higher hopes for, maybe had higher expectations, maybe a little bit too high expectations for him coming in last year. But he's a solid role player who has big play ability. He came over from Tampa Bay, and I want to say he had 300-something yards receiving this year. He did have a few touchdowns. he cooked J.C. Jackson, the Chargers, high profile, all pro, Pro Bowl cornerback signing from the Patriots in that week 2 game, right? That was week 2?
I believe so.
Against the Chargers,
Yeah.
They started off first game.
Amazon Prime's first game on Thursday.
Home opener. And had a nice, it was what, almost 50-yarder, 40-something yard touchdown in that game. It's a huge play at that moment in the game because the Chargers had kind of been taking it to us really to start that game, and that kind of lit a fire back under the team and kick-started the comeback there and kept us in the game. What do you guys think of Justin Watson, Nick?
I think it's a good value contract for the Chiefs. I think he's a guy that had a few drops. He's not going to be your number 1 guy, probably not going to be your number 2 guy, but he's a solid receiver to have on the team. He's fast. You know, he had like you said, had some big playability, made some crucial catches for us really down the stretch there too, a couple of third down situations and stuff. So I'm happy to have him. Like I said, it's a good contract for the Chiefs where they're at with the salary cap and the things that they want to do. Re-signing Chris Jones, we're paying Patrick Mahomes now. That's the kind of deals that you hope to see KC signing, you know, at this point in the maturity of the Mahomes contract. So, what do you think, Bo?
Yeah, man, I completely agree. Yeah, a few drops, but like I've been a fan of the guy since he got on the team. I view him as like actually really consistent, man. Like he had the deep threat. There was a couple of opportunities where the ball was overthrown, and Mahomes kind of said it was on him, but I think that was just him trying to adjust to not having Tyreek Hill speed receivers, right? And so like even Mahomes said that's something he wants to work on next year is getting that deep threat, and Jay Watt's one of those guys to do it. Yeah, I agree with Nick. Great value for the team. The coaches have high regards for him. The players like him. So I mean, I think it's a great fit. I've liked the guy. I think he's a good player.
He's a solid contributor on special teams as well. He came in and fielded punts there for a while when Sky Moore was having his issues. He can go in there, make a tackle too. He's not scared to stick his nose in there on special teams and cover kicks. He can get open. I want to say he was the guy that had the deep pass play that opened up the game against the Raiders there, the last game of the year. When the Chiefs were playing for the 1 seed, kind of set the tone for that game early. Didn't get in the end zone, but that was 50, 60-yard pass down the sideline. Got the Chiefs in position. They scored a touchdown on that opening drive of that game, first possession. He's, maybe he can do more with Juju Smith-Schuster leaving and McCole Hardman leaving. They need guys. Maybe he can get a little bit more opportunity, see a little bit more of the field. His second year in the offense, a little bit more familiar with it. I agree with you totally on the deep ball stuff. Because you saw it with MVS too.
Yeah.
Right. Really on the same page with those guys. When you're used to throwing to the cheetah, and I remember Patrick Holmes saying one time, I was like, I can't overthrow Tyreek Hill.
Right. I just throw it as hard as I can, and he goes up and gets it. Right.
Right. It's impossible to overthrow that guy. So we'll see. I'd like for him to contribute more, maybe step up into that second wide receiver role. I don't know, MVS. He'd be the guy right now, I guess, to step in and take over for Juju in that number 1 wide receiver spot. He was fairly inconsistent last year too, though. Had a huge AFC Championship game.
AFC Championship game.
But yeah, I kind of had some games where he was pretty quiet. That wide receiver 1 position is open for someone to grab. Chiefs could always draft a young electric talent here in the draft next week. That's always a possibility. What do you think that means for other receivers on the team, like Justin Ross and some of these other guys, Sky Moore? I know Sky Moore's not in jeopardy of not making the team or anything, but just a little bit more competition, more competition pushes the other guys. Right now, Nick, with the receivers on the team, who would you expect to kind of establish himself as that wide receiver 1 next year?
I think the Chiefs are leaking so much stuff. It's hard not to get on the Justin Ross hype train right now. I mean, they are really letting everybody know we believe we've got something here with this guy. So I'm gonna say that dude comes out and he's the guy that they're trying to make number one. I'll put it that way. Whether he does it or not, it's hard to say, but he's probably the most talented person that we have on the roster right now at that position. So him or MVS, it's got to be, right. I mean, I didn't see anything from Sky Moore that made me think he looks more like a Mecole Hardman type player, kind of in the slot, maybe jet sweeps, quick dude, but he's not a real big bodied receiver. So, so unless he can outrun people, so I'm going to go Justin Ross. Who'd you pick, Bo?
I'm gonna have to pull that Joker card, man. Kadarius Toney. I loved what I saw from him. What's up?
It's like I almost forgot Toney was on the team.
Dude, I know, like almost a sleeper, right? And just an amazing talent. I mean, if he can stay healthy, obviously there's the like health concerns, but dude, I mean, give that guy an off season, a good training camp. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of see him stepping up and being super productive. I mean, he did in the Super Bowl. He did last year when we needed him to. I mean, we got him on such a great steal of a deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I could see him sneakily being easily that 1 or 2 guy. I mean, he already has the rapport with Mahomes, understands the offense. He's the one that pointed out that Sky Moore was going to be open on his touchdown, right? Mahomes was looking at him. He's like, you look over there. And he's like, oh, yeah. Then, right? Yeah. So, like, smart football brain on that guy. That would be my sleeper. What about you, Scott?
I put out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter that if you're playing, I probably would not go this route and redraft. But if you play Dynasty League fantasy football, you need to go get Justin Ross on your team. There was a hater that disagreed with me on there, and
not on Twitter.
Yeah, not on Twitter. So it was terrible advice. But look, if you're sitting there and you've got a Donovan Peoples-Jones on the Browns on your roster, you've been waiting for 2 or 3 years for this dude to blow up, and he's just clogging your bench. He doesn't have near the upside of a Justin Ross. Okay, there's all these guys that have a big game here or there, and then they don't do anything for another month. And they have another big game, and you don't want to let go of them. Go get Justin Ross on your dynasty team, especially if you've got like a deep league. Like this league I play in where you've got 15 or 13 or 14 bench spots. Go snag the guy, man. Like it's all upside with him being
you have 14 bench spots.
Dude, it's crazy, that league that I play in with your brother.
Jeez, dude. I think I have like 4. We have like such a limited bench. Keeps players.
Is that dynasty or is that redraft though?
Oh, it's redraft. It's not dynasty.
Yeah, dynasty is a little bit different. You usually have deeper bench because you're keeping guys, and so you got to the bottom feeder guys. I don't know that I would pick him up in redraft right now. Maybe it's like a last round 14 flyer if he's still there, depending on what they do. And if they trade up and get this Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State, maybe I'll change my mind, but it's just so tough right now. I'm going to go, man, I don't know. That's tough, man.
There's some good, dude. We have some good receiving.
I want to go with Toney, but he's got the injury issues too. You know, I don't.
It's making me feel pretty good about our wide receiver situation. But honestly, talking about it.
But I've called MVS Butterfingers way too many times to say that he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver on the team, and he's had plenty of opportunities with Green Bay and with the Chiefs here to step up and be that alpha wide receiver. I just haven't seen it out of him. I think he's a little bit too boom or bust to do that. So I'm gonna steal Bo's pick. I'm gonna go with Toney just because he's been on the team. He made some big plays last year, but Justin Ross to me is like the most exciting wide receiver on this team.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm excited to see what he does, right? Yeah. But like it's until the proof is in the pudding, I'm going Joker.
Going Joker. Right. We talked a little bit about the draft. I don't know. You guys feeling any different with the draft coming up here? The Chiefs, we'll break it down more in depth next week, but it's hard not to talk about it right now. Being in Kansas City. I thought about going down there and checking it out, but man, that's gonna be a zoo down there.
100,000 people already, huh? That'd be fun.
Yeah, and you can see in the background there the Chiefs parade. That's where the draft's going to be at. There's people estimating that there was hundreds of thousands of people at the parade, so that might be kind of like a preview of what you got to look forward to trying to get down to the draft. I don't know if there'll be that many people there, but you guys still thinking they're going wide receiver or offensive lineman first round, Bo?
Yeah, man, for the most part, I don't see anything that would contradict that. Maybe defensive secondary, just to kind of like, add some more depth to those positions. They're still pretty young, those guys in those positions. So, but yeah, I'm still thinking O-line or wide receiver. There's nothing out there that's swaying me anywhere else that I'm seeing. You guys see anything different, Nick?
No, I'm still feeling offensive lineman. The only wild card there is, do they want to make a splash because it's in their home city, right? And are they going to just be boring and pick an offensive lineman with the last pick in the first round? But I don't know. I mean, I would give it 60-40. I just think that the linemen in the first round are just more of a sure thing, man. What do you think, Scotty?
I'm still feeling wide receiver. I feel like they brought Juju in and they brought MVS in to replace Tyreek Hill, and neither of those guys really did that. So, let's say, I guess they could always trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which I really haven't gotten any hotter or colder on that. Have you guys changed much? I mean, I think when we talked about that several weeks ago, we didn't really think the Chiefs were going to do it. Do you feel like they are more or less likely to do that now? Just real quick, Bo?
No, I don't think they're likely to take him. I think you would have heard something, or some numbers would have been thrown out there, like what somebody's looking for him. I haven't even heard if he's signing anywhere. So
well,
I doubt he'd come to the
trade him, right? The Cardinals.
Yeah, it would have to be a trade. He's under contract with the Cardinals, but
right. They want to get rid of him, right?
There's been some rumors that the Bills are interested.
Let them overpay for Hopkins and Von Miller.
Yeah.
How are they going to pay for Hopkins, Miller, and Josh Allen's contract's got to be hitting now, right?
Yeah.
I think he's got one more year, right? Isn't a rookie contract 4 years, or is it 3 years or 4 years?
I think that he was drafted the year after Mahomes, and Mahomes' contract just ended last year, so he's got to be hitting the first year of his deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got Diggs too, and yeah, they might have to be making some moves.
Yeah, they kind of went Rams and went all in, and it didn't really play out for them. They kind of
they went Broncos, went all in, and it didn't work out.
Got our man JT. What's up,
JT?
Spit that up, bro.
Hey,
you're just in time, JT. We're talking about that right now. Most people seem to think it's going to be a wide receiver or an offensive lineman first in the draft. Then after that, they're going in right now with I think that they've learned their lesson about drafting running backs in the first round, but they haven't re-signed Jerick McKinnon yet. So they're going in with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco right now. You need another running back. Yeah. I would be really surprised if they go first round, but I could see them picking a running back in the second or third round, maybe.
I could see them going later than that, having the success they've had with late round running back.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt was a third round pick, so that's definitely a day two possibility in that second or third round for them. But the kind of like the collective wisdom here is that they're going to go wide receiver or offensive lineman. They lost Orlando Brown to the Bengals in free agency. They signed Taylor from the Jaguars, right tackle. That everything the Chiefs are saying is pointing to him moving to left tackle. But they need someone to play right tackle because what's his name? He left and went to the Commanders. Was that Wiley?
Yeah, Andrew Wiley.
Andrew Wiley went to the Commanders. So The
And
Commanders.
that's why I'm leaning towards O-line, right? Getting
Yeah.
Taylor in there and not really replaced Wiley is kind of why I'm feeling like that's what they'll go for.
Definitely could. Especially if they're planning on Taylor playing left tackle. You don't need to be up as high in the first round to get one of these premier left tackles or right tackles as you do a left tackle. If you want a
Right.
left tackle, you got to get in the top 6, 7 to get one of these guys because them and quarterbacks go huge. They go huge in those first spots. Not so much now that quarterbacks have become the hot commodity, which rightfully so. It's the most important position in the league. So,
but we've seen the value though in getting a good O-line and protecting Mahomes and like the results that produces, whether or not going and getting 7 wide receivers or something. You know what I mean? Like I think the value is in protecting Mahomes.
Right. It's looking like our man JT Campbell. What's the receiver from North Carolina? I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name. JT. A lot of people are excited about that guy. I think he could be a guy that is not maybe like the most heralded guy, but is a damn good prospect. Going to the Chiefs and playing with Mahomes instantly bumps you up a grade or 2 there at the wide receiver position.
It's like getting a mushroom in Mario Brothers.
Yeah. It's looking like some of these other quarterbacks. JT's out there in the Carolinas. He's a Panthers fan. It's looking like Bryce Young's going to be the guy. There's some people saying it was going to be him or CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud stock's falling a little bit here in the week coming up to the draft.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've heard lots of different things. I've heard it's the old cliche of Ohio State quarterbacks don't pan out in the NFL. That was the cliche on Texas Tech quarterbacks too until Patrick Mahomes.
Right, exactly.
All Big 12, right?
What's that?
All Big 12 quarterbacks.
Yeah, a lot of Big 12 quarterbacks. They weren't there. Although there were some guys that played at OU and played at Texas that went fairly early. Vince Young, what was it?
Downs? JT saying his name is Downs, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm still hopeful that they move. I'm still hopeful that they move up and get one of these top wide receiver prospects. They need to replace the Cheetah. I don't think you can just keep going into seasons with a bunch of just 6s and 7s at wide receivers. You need a 9 or a 10 to play with Patrick Mahomes at some point. And that's no disrespect to the guys on the team, but MVS, Sky Moore didn't really show it. Juju came in and was a decent player, but he sniffed 1,000 yards, but he didn't get to 1,000 yards. I don't know. That's what I would like. I know Brendan and a lot of these other Chiefs fans I know are wanting to tackle an offensive lineman, and if that's what the Chiefs decide to do, I'm all in because they know what they're doing.
It's not necessarily that I want it. It's just like I kind of see it just being the more logical choice. I'm with you. I'm excited. I would love to see an all-star jump on a team. It would make me even more excited for the season to start and go watch games and like let's go. But practicality-wise, right? Let's protect our assets.
Yeah, sometimes the smart things to do aren't the sexy things to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, aren't the flashiest, but we'll see what they do there. Some other NFL news. Jalen Hurts signs a mega deal with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
Look here.
I did not hear that. I've been kind of like out of touch on the road. So.
Yeah. It's
averaging $51 million a year. So
yeah.
Wow. Good for him, man. That's awesome.
250 million, 177 guaranteed, I think.
Right. Before I sit here and trash the deal and say how bad of a deal it is, I want to give that guy his dues, man. He went to Alabama and won a national championship, and then played in his second national championship game. Got benched at halftime for Tua. He didn't pout. He didn't put his head down. He was over there on the sideline looking at the tablet with Tua and helping him out, and was just the consummate teammate. Not stubborn, unselfish. You know what I mean? Like, was celebrating. People were asking him after the game, about getting benched. He goes, "Bro, you serious? We just won the national championship. I don't care. I'm Tua, man. You see him playing out there. The dude was a stand-up guy. As a young guy, too, at that point, man. He's not some 25, 30-year-old guy. He's a kid almost at that point. I mean, you're 21 years old. He goes from Alabama to OU, basically gets replaced by Tua, goes to Oklahoma, balls out, kills it there, didn't hang his head, didn't give up, wasn't a malcontent, gets drafted by the Eagles, struggles a little bit, takes a lot of heat from people saying, he's just not an NFL quarterback, though, and comes back, just balls out last year, gets all the way to the Super Bowl. If he doesn't fumble that ball and that got picked up by Nick Bolton, which a lot you could say was the difference in the game, he's Super Bowl MVP of that game if the Eagles win, without a doubt.
Good argument for it. Yeah,
I mean, he was setting records for touchdowns by a single player in Super Bowl. So good for that guy, man. Like, that's the way you do it.
So is that more than Rodgers? He's going to be the highest paid then, right?
Yeah, that's the richest contract average per season average salary in NFL history, actually.
Dang. Good for him, man.
And you haven't heard the side story either, Bo. So when he was coming into the league, he got a DM message on Instagram from this girl who said, "Hey, do you have anybody representing you yet?" And so he took her on as his agent. And so now she has negotiated the most lucrative NFL contract in NFL history.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story, man. I'm happy for Jalen Hurts. He one of the things he said before leading up to the Super Bowl is, I didn't work this hard. We didn't work this hard to stay the same. And I mean, you think about all the stuff that Scott said, and he's only 24. Or he was 24 at the time of the Super Bowl. He may have had his birthday. I don't know. But I mean, 24, 25 years old, and to have that level of maturity and to have weathered that many storms and stuff, it's pretty cool, man. I'm stoked for the guy and all my friends that are Eagles fans out there in Philly. So
yeah, undeniable talent, that's for sure. I mean, it's apparent, especially when you see him live. You're like, good God, that guy's a freak of nature. He's just incredibly athletic. So fast, man. It's one thing to see it on TV. When you watch him in person, you're just like, oh yeah, dude. Yeah, there's a reason people don't catch that guy.
Right.
But yeah, speaking to his maturity level, even at the Super Bowl, he's the one pulling down his coach's arm when the coach is trying to try to rub in, some tic-tac call or that they went their way. I respect the guy. I think he's a tremendous talent, and good for him, dude. Like he deserves it. Like you said, he could have been Super Bowl MVP, had a couple plays gone the other way.
With all that being said, I think that's a terrible contract by the Eagles. Okay, maybe not terrible contract. I think it's a bad contract. I think he's gonna have the Lamar Jackson, Robert Griffin running quarterback injuries problem. The guy runs. They do a lot of designed runs for him. He runs between the tackle. I don't see him holding up long term.
That's fair.
Well, you saw it with Lamar Jackson in the last 2 years. The guy was not available at the end of the year. So I don't know. The guy was not all that great last year either, to be honest. He was decent, and they got in the playoffs, but he threw some of the worst passes and had some of the most terrible interceptions I've ever seen in that playoff loss against the Buccaneers 2 seasons ago. I mean, he was basically the reason they lost that game. So I don't know if he can keep it up year after year. I just feel like he's going to wear down soon. That's a lot of money to be paying a running quarterback. What do you think, Nick? Is that a good deal, bad deal, indifferent? What do you think?
I think that's just the deal that you're going to see signed at this point with a guy that just went to the Super Bowl. You saw look at what Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones got.
Yeah,
right. Daniel Jones got
Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, right? Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. This is just the new normal. I don't know whether it's a good move or a bad move for the Eagles. We'll see how the cap goes, but I love the deal because Joe Burrow hasn't signed his deal yet. Justin Herbert hasn't signed his deal yet.
Yeah, I was going to get into
Patrick Mahomes is under contract for another 9 years. and when
I
he's
don't
locked
know
in
if
at.
it's 9 years.
8
He
or
signed his
7.
extension early, so I don't know that. I don't think it's 9 years left on it. But
So look at it this way: when Mahomes signed that deal, there was a year on that contract that is 4 or 5 years out that was paying him $59 million a year, and everybody's like, "Well, that's the year where they probably have that year set up because that's when they'll renegotiate his deal," and that might be what it is. But they're looking at people already getting in the 50s right now, so he's going to be making average money for what what those guys are making by that time. And it just puts us at such a competitive advantage. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think that, like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but if you're gonna make it, you got to make it now because they signed him to what, 5 years,
yeah,
and that might be for the style of play that he has, that just might be the longevity of his career, and they've got him locked up for basically the rest of it. So
right.
we'll see on that.
Bo, you think that's a smart move, bad move?
Yeah, I mean, I see your concerns about like him being a running quarterback, but I think if you're an Eagles fan, you're loving that deal, right? Like, he got you to the game. I know he didn't win the game, but like, I'm pretty sure all Eagles fans are set on him being their guy for a while, right? I don't see anybody saying otherwise. I don't see pundits saying that, or anybody on Twitter for that matter. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but I agree with Nick. I think it's just the new norm, especially when you see Deshaun. Like I brought up Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, 2 guys that got paid ridiculous amounts of money and did not perform. Like you could easily, if you're Jalen Hurts, you just go, look at these guys, look what they're getting paid, and you're trying to tell me I'm equal to them? No, you're going to pay me more than these guys. So I get where he's coming from. I'm happy for it. I like seeing guys get paid, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on the guy for getting paid. That's a lot of money to pay somebody that is going to take hits, and he's going to take a beating more so than most guys. But I don't know. Time will tell. Lamar Jackson turned down a similar deal. Basically, I was looking at that too. Lamar Jackson maybe made a little bit of a mistake. I don't know if there's anybody that would argue with that. He wanted the 100% fully guaranteed deal like Deshaun Watson got. I don't think teams are going to do that. Jalen Hurts comes out. He's had far more playoff success, and he's been in the league, what, half the time that Lamar Jackson's been in the league?
Exactly.
A little under half the time. He's already been to the Super Bowl and won playoff games. Lamar Jackson's won 1 playoff game.
Yeah.
So, and I understand playoff wins aren't necessarily just a individual player stat. That's a team stat. But all these great quarterbacks carry their teams to wins. If Jalen Hurts is worth $51 million a year, what is Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert asking for? Nick?
Just
Bengals. Just give Joe Burrow $200 million a year guaranteed.
That's all you need.
I don't know. 50, probably 53, 55. I think that out of anybody that's left, I would see Joe Burrow maybe taking more of a team-friendly deal out of the bunch.
I don't know, man.
You don't think so?
He's
pretty smart business dude.
What's that?
He has pretty good business acumen. I could see Joe Burrow taking a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who has the more business acumen. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, look what he's been able to do because he's won 2 Super Bowls. And he's making his money off the field. And you go and there's the Mahomes shoes, right? He's got Whataburgers. He's part owner in Sporting Kansas City. He's part owner in the Kansas City Royals, which probably not a great investment right now. But
nothing to brag about being part owner of those 2 teams right now.
I just think that there's a lot to be had if you can win. And you can win at a high level for a longer period of time. I mean, Michael Jordan is a multi-billionaire, because he won 6 championships, right? So, I think that maybe it's guaranteed if you can get it guaranteed, though, right? Because wins aren't guaranteed, Super Bowls aren't guaranteed. But I don't know. Out of that bunch, I would say that maybe Joe Burrow. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him take a deal, and your people are kind of scratching their head maybe over what he got. It's still going to be more than Mahomes,
Yeah.
And Patrick has come out and said, like, yeah, I know that these guys are going to come out and make more than me. Like, and it doesn't bother me, and I don't care about it. Now, will that bother him in 4 years? Like, I guess we'll have to see. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about, right? Like, what's most important to you? And are you a team guy, right? Are you a team guy if you're taking that much of your team's salary cap?
I don't. Yeah, no, I'm obviously not.
It's a great question, man. I like it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing the kind of leverage you get when you win a Super Bowl, right? And I don't know that Justin Herbert or Burrow or any of these guys can really command what Hurts got for like just falling short, right? Like, yeah, you made playoff wins, you're doing all right, but Burrow a little different, made it to the Super Bowl, but again, doesn't have the leverage of winning, right? So I can kind of see them going under, but not by much, dude. I somewhere in between. I feel like my number is Deshaun Watson like the third highest paid quarterback or fourth. He's in the top 5, right?
Yeah, he's in top 5. I think he's 4th, somewhere in there.
I feel
Now,
like all these guys got to do is just point to that guy and be like, "You're going to tell me that I didn't perform better than him, and he's going to pay that, right?" Like that's their leverage. I feel like that they have. So,
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see him coming in at somewhere around that number, around the Hurts number, maybe a little.
Yeah. Joe Burrow to me is a flashy guy, and you see him with all the gaudy jewelry and the clothes, and he's Mr. Cool. I think he's probably a little bit more maybe about the money than Patrick Mahomes was. Obviously don't know the guy personally, but I think if Jalen Hurts is going to get 51, if I'm Herbert or Burrow, other than taking a team-friendly deal to win, I think if Jalen Hurts is worth 50, then I think Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are worth 55 or 60.
Yeah.
And they're both better than Jalen Hurts, right? I know Justin Herbert's never won a playoff game, but you look at his skill set and what he can do passing the ball is far. So those guys are both far superior than Jalen Hurts at throwing the ball, which is how you stick around longer in the league.
Joe Burrow went to 2 straight AFC championships and 1 Super Bowl in the tougher conference, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah. So I don't know. It's all good news for us though, because I saw and I put out on the Twitter on the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter earlier this week that Patrick Mahomes is the 6th highest paid player. Now, this is on a per year basis. He still has the richest contract ever because it was like $500 million.
Yeah,
it was over 10. It was 450 million with some incentives over 10 years. So he didn't get to that 51 million per year. But overall, total money, his contract's still worth the most overall, just actual total cash. But and maybe he renegotiates that at some point. But he's like 6th right now in average per year salary. Once Herbert and Burrow and them guys sign, they're going to get more than Mahomes is going to get. He's going to be almost out of the. He's going to be like at the bottom of the top 10. He's by far the most accomplished and a little biased here, the best quarterback in the NFL.
Who's that remind you of?
Maybe our man JT here. He's unbiased. He's not a Chiefs fan. What do you think, JT? Patrick, best quarterback in the league right now? I don't know if you think maybe some of these other guys.
I don't know if he was talking about Mahomes, but
no, he was talking about Michael Jordan. You were talking about Michael Jordan getting all these endorsements and all these deals, and JT.
I still want to think in my brain that he was talking about Mahomes.
Right. Right.
That's how I read it.
So yeah, Patrick Mahomes he's the 8th or 9th top paid quarterback in the league. There we go. There's JT. Without a doubt right now. Backing us up. Appreciate that, JT. So we'll see. It just got a lot harder for the Eagles year after year.
Yeah.
How many of these quarterbacks you see get these big money deals and they don't make it back? Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't made it back. Now, I think a lot of that is organizational ineptitude on their part in Green Bay. But there's a lot of these quarterbacks that have gotten to a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, or have been really, really good. They got that big money contract and just couldn't put the players around them to compete at that top level. I mean, you saw it with Tom Brady took less, right? That's a big part of the reason he had all the success that he had. And that kind of goes back to the point Nick was making earlier. But at the same time, it's a lot easier to do that when you have a wife that's making more money than you are. So,
but going to Mahomes though, right? Like the fact that he got paid the way he did, we had to get rid of Tyreek Hill, right? And like that could have easily sent the team into a downward spiral, right? So it just kind of shows how much more valuable that guy is in the sense that like his raw talent passing to 10 plus guys for 13 games out of the season, right? Like he just had to he put it on his shoulders and carried that team, carried the team to the Super Bowl, right? Like
on one leg.
So
yeah, on one leg too, nonetheless.
Right.
So yeah, no, he's the man. He's on our team, which makes me happy.
He's going to be on our team for a long time too.
We're going to be on our team for a long time. You're right. So, I don't know. Is there any other news you guys want to talk about? Anything we didn't get to, or?
My thumb is not on the pulse on anything. I've been on the road and I've enjoyed kind of being unplugged. So if you guys have any stories, let me hear them.
You're the one that was just living in Vegas, bro.
All right. Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Nick. Those stories.
You're not allowed to talk about it. I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement before I left the state.
The last day we were there, we lost about like $200 in about 5 minutes. Ashley's like, so that was like that's what it was like with Scott, huh? And I was just like, yeah, that's pretty much what it was like.
Were you looking around? Are you like, is Nick here with us? Or
right? Yeah, exactly.
Is Nick calling out 7 on a craps table again?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything else to get to. I think we kind of talked about everything. We're about an hour in, so we can go ahead and wrap it up. But appreciate everybody who joined in. If you want to get in, I think everybody that's in here now has been in here since the beginning, but drop that prediction on where the Chiefs go. First pick in the draft. Their first pick in the draft, not the first pick in the draft.
Yes.
Whether it's first round or second round, what position group you think? Maybe go offensive line or wide receiver. Maybe go something a little bit bolder to give yourself a little bit better chance to win, to separate yourself from all the other folks. We're going to go over on the Twitter, Chiefs Kingdom Live, and we're going to put out pictures here of the stuff we're giving away, and people can reply there, and then we'll just randomly pick someone who picked the right group, and we're going to give them the giveaway. Nick's got the AFC Championship confetti. We got the Super Bowl LVII towel from the game in Glendale back in February. It's a pretty sweet score. So make sure you get in on the contest. If you haven't already followed us on Twitter, you could get a second entry there. I kind of gave that little tip out there at the top of the show, but really enjoy doing these shows every week. We'll have a good draft show. We'll talk hardcore NFL draft next Wednesday because the first round is a week from tomorrow. So we'll be like NFL Draft Eve show there.
On the cusp.
Right. Yeah, we'll be talking. We'll hopefully get our man JT in there. We'll break down maybe some of his Carolina Panthers got the number 1 overall pick. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I remember the Chiefs having the number 1 overall pick, and then they picked a left tackle. So, but still exciting. It was still fun. They kind of make your team the focus of the draft too, and all the promotional stuff and the media and things leading up to the draft. So get your team some rep there. And I've said it before, I root for the Carolina Panthers in the NFC. I've always kind of admired how they came into the league as an expansion team and were good right away. Played in the Super Bowl with Jake Delhomme. Is that right? That was the guy.
Yeah.
They lost to the Patriots. Is that right? Or I think back that far now.
Remember?
I think so, because I think that was that the year that the Jaguars and the Panthers were both in the championship game. right after they came into the league.
That sounds right. That might be it. But yeah, see there, our guy JT sounds So yeah, exciting. And if I had the number 1 overall pick in the draft, I'd pick Bryce Young from Alabama. There's a lot of people comparing him to Drew Brees, his style of play, the way he throws the ball, his build, that's a pretty good comparison. If you're going to be drawing comparisons,
not a bad example.
To somebody else, one of the, I don't know, where's Drew Brees at? All-time quarterbacks, top 3, top 5. I mean, he only got the one Super Bowl, but he's got almost every record there is to have.
I don't know that you could say he's top 5, right? Or top 3. Maybe top 10. Somewhere 7 or 8.
Top 3 might be a stretch, but top 5,
Well, you got Brady, you got
Montana,
Mahomes, you got Montana, you've got Manning,
Elway.
No, I'm not putting Elway up there.
Tough crowd on that one, Bo.
I get it. He was up there though.
You look at the numbers that guy put up, man. He's top 1 or top 2 in almost every passing.
It's the championships that are holding him back, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. That's the only thing
more
holding him
yards,
back.
more touchdowns than Manning. I think Brady broke his passing yards record, but that's only because Brady played for 5 more seasons than he did.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Brady
Marino, JT's saying Marino. Well, and Rodgers, right? Where would you put Rodgers above Drew Brees?
Yeah, that's tough.
They're pretty. I put them pretty similar,
comp, right? Because they both won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah,
both only went to 1 Super Bowl, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Looks like we got Chris. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Appreciate you joining in here. If you want to get in on this giveaway, Chris, drop who you think the Chiefs are going to pick, what position group they go with their first pick, and get in there. We're giving away some pretty good stuff. You're catching us at the end here. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe Chris has been in here for a while and he's just now commenting. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I do actually have another story I want to get to here real quick before we get out, and then we'll call tonight. Did you see the story about Russell Wilson flipping the golf cart?
No, yes.
Country Club in Denver. Like, wait a minute, what?
All right, no, I did not hear about it. Let's hear this.
So he was playing golf out there in the Denver area, and he flipped his golf cart into a bunker. Like flipped it over, rolled it.
Let's ride, JT says.
Yeah, let's ride. There we go. JT with the comment of the night. Let's ride. Yeah, let's ride into the bunker and roll the golf cart.
Was it at that fancy, like the real rich place? Was it like Cherry Creek in Denver?
I don't know.
It wasn't Cherry Creek. No, it was named Arrowhead.
No,
Arrowhead
Golf Course.
Like that.
Just falling.
Look, I'm not gonna.
Everything
I'm glad he avoided serious injury, but how funny is that? I mean, he crashed and burned against the Chiefs twice last year, and then now he's crashing his golf cart at Arrowhead Country Club. That's too much.
That's awesome.
I mean, Chris living out there in Colorado representing Chiefs Kingdom. Nice. Appreciate you joining us, man. Yeah, that was too funny. Mr. Unlimited. Everybody's talking about how good the Broncos are going to be with Sean Payton, and he's going to get Russell Wilson turned around. Sean Payton went to 1 Super Bowl with Drew Brees. We were just talking about Drew Brees. I mean, he had one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he went to 1 Super Bowl. Like, this guy is not he's not Bill Belichick or even Andy Reid. At this point, Andy Reid's been to what? How many Super Bowls has Andy Reid been to now? 4?
Right.
Yeah. And he's won 2.
Well, Andy Reid has really had this swan song at the end of his career where he shot up people's lists, Yeah. I mean, there's people that are legitimately talking about, is Andy Reid a better coach than Bill Belichick now? And
yeah, there are. Yeah.
4 years ago, nobody was making that comparison, right?
To kind of play devil's advocate to that story, right? Like what Andy Reid did for the Chiefs. I think that's what Broncos fans are hoping Peyton's going to do for the Broncos. But I'm with you. I don't see it. Like, I just remember the
Yeah.
The contracts they had to go out and hurt players. I remember that as one being under his leadership, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Sean Payton's not coming into a situation where he's got like an Alex Smith.
And a Tyreek Hill and
Alex Smith was a veteran quarterback, but he wasn't at the end of his career like Russell Wilson.
Well, and Peyton's already said that he's going to move on from Russell Wilson if he doesn't play better. I'm like, you can't. I mean,
I did hear Team 3 is not allowed in the building or some shit like that. Like he's not about that Team 3 shit, which I respect.
What's he going to do though? Who's he going to go to? Is he going to bench Russell Wilson? Who's their backup? I don't even know the guys. I can't even think of their backup.
Is his name Paxton? Is that their backup?
Paxton Lynch?
No,
he's him?
Paxton Lynch.
They drafted him, but he's not still with their team.
I mean, they got rid of the kid from Mizzou, Drew Lock. I was going to
say maybe they could trade Seattle for Drew Lock.
Yeah, maybe they could trade and get Drew Lock back. But yeah, no, I just don't see. And Andy Reid, he's really shot up the list when he had Patrick Mahomes in his prime. The Broncos, they don't have draft capital the next couple of years to go up and get one of these top quarterback prospects in the next year or two. They're paying Russell Wilson a ton of money, so it's not like they can go out and sign some legit guy like an Aaron Rodgers or, I mean, I don't think Tom Brady is an elite level quarterback now at this point in his career. But you see teams like the 49ers or the Jets going out and getting Aaron Rodgers. They can't afford to bring on an Aaron Rodgers contract. Right. With the money they're paying Russell Wilson. So even if they do move on from Russell Wilson, he's stuck with that for at least the next 2 seasons. This season and the season after before they can really afford to go out and get a big name quarterback.
And they gave away a lot of their draft picks, right?
What's that?
They don't even have the draft picks.
Yeah, and they don't have the draft picks either. So, yeah, I don't see it happening. I see the Broncos still being third place in the division, fighting the Raiders for third place behind the Chiefs and the Chargers. So, yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Glad Russell Wilson's all right. I don't want to wish injury or anything.
Hilarious, though.
And we've got our man Nick from Locker Room Rant is in here. What's up, Nick?
What's up, dude?
Good to see you, bro. Appreciate it. Missed you guys last night. I didn't see your show last night.
No, man. I got horse races. I got the gambling addiction now.
Me too.
Here we go. JT Campbell. Serious question. If you're making $50 million a year and went out giving performances like Russell did last year, would y'all not be completely embarrassed?
I'd be embarrassed for them. Cash the paychecks every week, JT.
I'd pay somebody else to feel embarrassed for me.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure though.
That's right. Stidham is there.
Especially after all the goofy shit Russell Wilson did and all the talking and the let's ride and coming in and buying the house with 13 bathrooms and stinking up like that. Yeah, I mean,
I guess our invite to the bachelor party just got lost in the mail.
Right. Well, John V invited me. He called me and invited me to go.
I think I got out of there just in time.
Good for you.
Right. No, I hit up. John V was talking about their bachelor party in Vegas this weekend. I was going to try and make it out there, and so I DM'd him on Twitter. And I said, "Hey, man, give me a call so I can get some details from you." And he called me, and I was like, "This is like having a celebrity call me. I got John V's number, baby." But anyway, yeah, no, it's funny. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Chris Daly. Chris,
what's up, Chris?
You got to drop in the comments to get in on this giveaway, man. Who the Chiefs are, what position are they going to pick with their first pick? Wide receiver, offensive line, defensive back. What do you got, Chris Daly? I saw Chris, our man here. He went offensive line, right? I got him on record here. So,
yeah, I'll go back and get everybody's tag once if they commented.
From having all the Johns to having all the Chris's.
Right. Sneak over to the @ChiefsKingdom Live. I don't know. Do we got the Twitter handle? We can scroll on the bar down there for the folks that maybe don't have us on Twitter yet. We're giving away AFC Championship confetti, giving away an Arrowhead 50th Anniversary Stadium Cup.
Yeah, there you go, right here.
And a Super Bowl LVII towel from the game. that Bo picked up while he was out there in Arizona.
A couple other goodies too, yet to be mentioned.
Yeah, it'd be a couple.
Surprise.
You know, we like to throw a little surprise in there. So you can see the at Chiefs Kingdom with Kingdom Abbreviated Live Twitter handle down there. Sneak on over there if you got the Twitter and get yourself a second entry.
Yeah, Nico, we don't. I mean, we're pretty solid, but a lot of people are saying that going and trying to get a true number one wide receiver would be a good pickup for us. Also, we have lost a lineman, so maybe getting a solid lineman in the draft for the offensive line to protect Mahomes on a cheap deal for a few years.
Yeah, Chiefs lost left tackle and right tackle. They also lost edge rusher Frank Clark, one of their better pass rushers, especially the second half of the season going into the playoffs. So you can never stand pat and just, well, we won the Super Bowl last year, we'll just win it next year. So they're always, I mean, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, as the old saying goes. So I don't think they're looking to get any worse. But
and we have 11 or 12 picks, right? So
right, yeah, we do. So I'm hoping they trade up and go wide receiver, but we'll see. Really appreciate everybody who joined us. Thanks again to everybody who follows us, who subscribes to our channel.
Yes, thank you guys.
Really looking forward to this giveaway. And like I said, head on over to the Twitter handle if you got the Twitter and get a second entry in there. If you're not cheating,
drop a comment here. Here's fine too. You're
not cheating, you're not trying. So get in there and get 2 picks. You know, 2 lottery tickets is better than 1. But good seeing you, JT.
Yeah, good
Thanks
to see you, bro.
for tuning in and watching. JT's not even a
Safe up
Chiefs
there
fan.
on them roofs.
Yeah, stay safe out there on the roof. JT's not even a Chiefs fan, and he tunes in and watches our show almost every week. Hell of a nice guy, man. We really appreciate that. So if you haven't clicked like already, do that. Well, we're lacking in the likes. The videos are getting 100 something or a couple hundred views and like 8 or 10 likes. So we need to get the likes picked up. Click subscribe if you haven't done that. Tell a friend, tell a family member, help spread the word. Until next week, when we'll be talking NFL draft in Chiefs Kingdom, the heart of Chiefs Kingdom here in Kansas City.
Good.
Let's go, Chiefs.
Let's go, Chiefs.
All right, let's go, Chiefs.